That's okay.
All right, welcome back to the Boomer Backfield podcast. Today, we're asking the question of what's going on behind the scenes at OU Athletics.
Are we broke?
Are we broke?
We are broke.
We
are broke.
Yeah. Are we going to be able to keep up with these big NIL schools?
No.
Are we having success in the transfer portal? Are we retaining players well?
No.
We're going to go into all of that, the direction of OU with the NIL era. And I think to start it off, I think we have two pieces of news from the past week to kind of get into it. So right after we lose to UConn in the first round of March Madness, Porter Moser comes off the court, and the first media guy that was able to get to him said, asked him about the direction of the offseason. And Porter Moser said, we need to win in May and in April in NIL. And to me, I kind of took it. I don't know. To me, it was kind of a dig at Josie.
100%.
Because being one of the lowest NIL programs in OU or in the SEC for basketball had to have just been brutal for Porter Moser, who's trying to hang on for dear life to his job.
Yeah.
So, and make March Madness. So, to me, that was like, you got one of your coaches out here saying that right after a game. But then not a week later, we land the number one women's basketball recruit, Aaliyah Chavez, who has a valuation of $1.5 million according to On3. So I don't know. But at the same time, my feelings on the football transfer portal outside of John Mateer has been kind of iffy as well. So I kind of wanted to pose the question to you guys. What do y'all think? What do y'all feel about the success recently?
Here's what I would say about it. I think when the top end of whatever sport it is looking, if OU isn't like a viable option for them, that's when we pull out the cash. Like John Mateer situation, OU was on the board. We had a chance. Basketball, I couldn't let's say Cooper Flagg, who was like number one guy. OU was not even on his radar.
No shot.
So there's I think if we can get the best of the best and they're like interested in coming here in general, that's when we pull it. Aaliyah Chavez, she asked that, but she was also interested in OU, in Texas, all these schools. So we're on the board. So Joe C is like, hey, I got it. Because I think we have it. We're just very selective on how we choose it. If they're not already, we're not going to go out and be like, we'll give you this if you're not already thinking about it.
So they're just a bit selective.
Very selective, I would say.
That's a fair thing to say. Because we have shut out the cash.
We have.
Before.
Because that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't say we're broke
so far.
Because we just, and I know like the Jordan deal is probably going to happen for Aaliyah Chavez. Like, I get that. But I know we still had to give her something. We had to give her something.
Okay. So that's an interesting take on it.
So we're broke.
Okay.
We're dead broke. We got John Mateer. We were the lowest NIL. We were the lowest paid to him. He had other offers that were higher. The only reason we got him was Ben Arbuckle. We're dead broke. And I don't know why that is. OU's a huge blue blood brand. We have fans all over the country, and yet we have no money whatsoever. One thing I want to say about Porter Moser is the comments after the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first time I think he's ever publicly talked about his NIL situation.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you know how hard it is to go through a season? Everybody's coming after your head. Everybody's saying you're fired. And because you're a public figure, you can't say, well, my AD is not giving me enough money, so how do you expect me to do my job? Even though that's probably what he's thinking. I mean, if I'm Porter Moser, I'm thinking, everybody wants me fired. Everybody wants me out of OU. But I have the lowest NIL out of any school in my conference. And that's honestly, like, probably generous. Like, most schools probably had a lot more than what OU had. I would be livid. And you can't say anything about it because as a coach, you can't say that my ID is the problem. Like, he can't say that because then it's going to come back to him.
Yeah.
So I feel bad for Porter, and I'm honestly kind of glad that he said that. It's like finally, like everybody can recognize that he's not the problem.
Mm-hmm.
The money is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you give Porter Moser $4.5 million, I think was the average.
Mm-hmm.
5, I don't know.
It was like 4, I think. 4.5, yeah.
You give Porter $1.5 million more than what he has right now. Watch the run we take. See what happens. I think for football, the same thing kind of goes with BV and the offense last year of like when it's kind of the same thing when BV cannot publicly say the offense is garbage. That's the reason why I'm failing at my job. He can't really say that. And he kind of took some slight digs at like Seth Luttrell, like we need to be better on offense. We need to be better, but he couldn't publicly say it. But with NIL, I just think who do we get other than John Mateer this year?
Yeah.
An Arkansas wide receiver who is good. He's solid. Javonte Gibson came from UAPB. He's looking raw. But it's like our strategy right now is we'll go all in on a quarterback, which happens to be the lowest offer that he got from any other school. And then we're going to go find diamonds in the rough everywhere else because we can't afford to pay him. That happened with Bauer Sharp last year. We don't have any money.
Dude, that's what I agree with you on is that I can agree that we're very selective when it comes to stars.
Yeah.
And I'm actually okay with that because it's like, I don't want to be like the top MLB teams where it's just like throw unlimited money to a star, no matter what he actually would add to the team. Just throw bags at everybody.
Yeah.
Or end up in a Texas A&M situation, right?
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that. The problem is when we're building depth, when we're building up, role player spots or just like, O-line, D-line, things like that. Or tight end. We're going to JUCO. Why is OU
D2? Hey, D2.
That's worse. Like, why is OU only able to get a $3 million quarterback, which is the new standard, everybody, when it comes to the blue bloods?
Yeah.
And then after that, you're building a roster off of cheap guys. That concerns me. I feel like OU should be in the ballpark of we can go get a star quarterback and go get several Power 4 players. We did a good job this cycle with Kendall Daniels, Marvin Jones Jr.
Yeah.
But man, like a position like tight end where you needed one and you ended up going to get some out of Kennesaw State. No hate to Carson Kent. I'm excited to see maybe what he can turn out to be. But man, like it's hard to build Ohio State is building a $20 million roster. That's how they won the national championship last year. So it's like,
jeez,
I don't know. So I don't know.
Insane.
And I wish all this stuff was more public. Like I wish there was just a salary like in the pros where you can just like look up their salaries and the cap and all that. But to me, it just seems like we are being really we're being selective with our stars, but we're being stingy with our depth. Like we're going to have to find just bottom barrel.
And selective, to that point, selective is still low money. We offered John Mateer less than North Carolina and Miami did.
But here's my question for you. Why give him more money if he's going to come here anyway?
That's fair.
Like that doesn't make sense.
Well, I'm saying
here, let me give you
John
$4 million.
John Mateer was a special situation. If we didn't have Ben Arbuckle, we don't get John Mateer. So what happens next year if we need to get, I don't know, say a star receiver out of the portal and none of his former coaches are here, they're never going to come here ever.
But
if they're getting offered more money from somewhere else and they don't have ties here, they're not coming here.
But I'm just saying, like, I get what you're saying, but for me, if Ben Arbuckle's not here, I bet we put up more money for John Mateer.
I don't think so because I don't think we have it.
I don't know.
That's a good question.
That's a good point.
I think we both get what each other are saying.
I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying, like, I think you're like, if we did not have Ben Arbuckle, I really don't think is Ben Arbuckle's salary that we pay him. If you added that to John Mateer's, and I just don't.
Here's what I say.
Know. I don't think we would.
I think we may have offered more, but I don't think we would have run the race versus Miami.
Yeah,
money wise, I don't think we would have ended up winning that race.
I feel like BV goes after BV. I feel like is a special I've heard countless times players say, as soon as we left here, my mom, my dad,
I have heard
they
that a
said,
lot.
you're coming here.
Yeah.
Like, I think he can, and I think he could do it on me. If Miami was like, we'll give you $4 million and OU was only offering $3 million, if I talked to BV, I guarantee I'd probably be convinced.
Yeah.
I think I could.
Agreed, but why are we the school that has to convince these guys on the
Passion.
the passion of the OU brand? Like, we should be able to convince them on passion of OU brand and then match what any school offers them.
Yeah.
Aaliyah Shop, I'll add on to the John Mateer thing. We wouldn't have got John Mateer without Ben Arbuckle. We wouldn't have gotten Aaliyah Chavez without the Jordan brand, probably.
Yeah.
Because that NIL deal will be crazy. Like that actual brand deal will be crazy. So
no shot.
And like Texas and Texas A&M, they got the money. And so and where I'm going with this whole topic for the day is like, play this out 5, 6, 7 years. How far can you fall behind if we don't figure it out? Which is why I'm glad with the direction with hiring Jim Nagy. Was a really good step. I think he's going to do a really good job. Mm-hmm. But man, like, if the money legitimately isn't there, then it will be concerning. I'll bring up some numbers because all these numbers are so odd to me because it's like it's so unpublic.
Doesn't
but
make sense.
What is public is revenue and expenses. So what comes in and what comes out. What came in was $208 million. What went out was $206. It was the highest profit since 2018. It's one of the higher profits in college football.
$2 million?
$2.6 million. A lot of athletic departments don't profit.
Yeah, they always lose.
They work in a negative.
There's like less than 10, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is OU and Texas got a half payment from the SEC this year because they were still in the weird year of like transition with the Big 12 and all that. So they got $27.5 million next year. They're going to get $52 million from the SEC next year. So that's a 27
holy cow
or a $26 million-ish jump in revenue next year on top of anything else that might come in. So it's like on the outside, it doesn't look like we're broke, but it just like the results seem weird. The transfer portal, the retention, it seems weird. Why can we not retain depth when it comes to like a lot of the defensive players that left this year and things like that?
Our receiver core.
Yeah.
That was obviously, maybe a med staff issue. But the thing is that if the money isn't going to football, which it doesn't seem like it is.
Where's it going?
It's not going to basketball.
Softball, guys, I'm telling you.
It might
go look up those softball NIL.
Really?
Jada Coleman was making bread.
Don't they have sponsorships though?
Yes, they have
like with Adidas or like brand deals though, right?
I don't care what it is. They have something.
I'll add to his point though, like if you're Rawlings, who are you going to sponsor? It's going to be OU players.
Yeah.
Like they get the most spotlight attention. So that probably helps the university a lot to pay them.
You're not going to,
but I guess
that's like equipment. That's like team equipment.
What I'm saying is are we paying the majority of these girls, softball girls, NIL, or are there brand deals paying them? And I think it's mostly their brand deals because the truth of the matter is football and softball are the two highest income producing sports on campus currently.
Yeah.
Every softball game sold out. Every football game sold out. Where's the money? Where's it at? If we're profiting $2.6 million from football, where's that going?
Which gave to John Mateer.
From all athletics, we're profiting $2.6 million.
Oh, so all okay.
And that's after every expense. You know what I mean? Like that's after all of it. That was the end of the year.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, where is the money going? Now we have the whole new law with like the school can actually pay the athletes. So there's like a lot of money. We have donor funds set up. But why is it that we have all these things working for us? We're about to get $52 million from the SEC. We're about to get $20 million from the state of Oklahoma. We're about to have all these donor funds, and yet we're still scrapping. Yep. Like, where's the money going?
And what's frustrating to add to your point about the new law is like these numbers reflect what the university made. It doesn't reflect at all what's in these NIL. What do they call them? The pools of money that are outside.
Slush funds.
Yeah, like the the one Oklahoma, or the whatever they called it before.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating that you can't just like peek inside there and see what's going on. But no, it's interesting because it just feels like every transfer portal comes around every cycle, and it's just fleece. We're just getting
In every sport,
everybody's leaving. We're not retaining well. It feels like, and the guys that come in and replace them are from smaller schools. Our guys go to bigger schools. LSU.
Yep.
They go to
but
our guys go to Power 4 schools, and we get guys from non-Power 4 schools.
That's
what I'm saying.
I just don't think we've lost. I'm trying to think of like outside of the Mets. I think the wide receiver is Met staff. Anybody else big time that we've lost? If you're going to, Dylan Gabriel can't count it because I think he left for a better, out of like the good in his heart to let Jackson Arnold have a chance. Mm-hmm. But I wish he didn't. I mean, yes. But I don't think we're getting fleeced. I wouldn't say
we are getting fleeced in basketball.
Basketball,
yes. I think we are fleeced in basketball. That is logical. Porter Moser just said, I ain't got enough money.
Yeah.
But like football, I don't think we're getting, and the people we're bringing in, yes, I am concerned with that. But like you got Andrell going to Duke. Like, I don't think, I'm like, okay.
No, I can agree with that. I don't think we're getting fleeced in football.
But we are not bringing in the type of talent that those guys probably were.
That's fair.
Yeah. We're not replacing it with equal talent.
Like, Giovanni Gibson might be better than all those guys that left. Yeah. But it's not like proven on paper guys. These other schools are getting guys that I just saw you run for whatever in a SEC game. Yeah. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, I guess my question is, why is Duke able to land an OU guy? And why is OU only able to land
a Pittsburgh State?
Yeah.
In Pittsburgh, Kansas guy.
Like, why?
Shout out Will Huggins.
It should be the opposite way around. We should be landing the Power 4 guys. It should be a funnel upwards, right? Yeah. It should be, smaller Power 4 teams are landing mid-majors.
Yeah.
Mid-majors are landing. And OU should be at the top. We should be landing the best of the best.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like there's going to be times where Brent Venables says, look at this guy from,
from UAPB.
Yeah, from UAPB. I like him.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't be our whole roster outside of two players that was in the portal.
That's what's concerning is it's the strategy. We go all in for one guy, John Mateer, and then BV is looking for the next Hollywood Brown out of JUCO or a small D1. You cannot win with a strategy like that. You're playing Moneyball.
Literally.
You're playing Moneyball.
I will say
that you cannot win with that strategy.
I think that the Jim Nagy hire BV gives me like very old school vibes. He's just going to try and do it like how college football has always been. Like, because I look at Ohio State. I don't think that Ohio State went and paid. How much did they pay Will Howard? I want to know because was it a lot? Because I feel like he wasn't that.
I don't know.
Great.
But I think what Ohio State's strategy was is
to build around him.
Low-key, they like went and got
which that makes more sense
decent quarterback.
Because I don't think. I mean, glad to have John Mateer here, but I think. I'm not even trying to glaze Mike right here, but I'm saying if you put Mike and just build around Mike, I think we're still a very solid team or somebody that we already have.
If you gave Mike Ohio State's receiving core, Lord, anybody really.
In his O-line.
You can give a lot of quarterbacks in college football Ohio State's receiving core and win a national championship.
Because quarterbacks demand the highest unless you're Jeremiah Smith. But I think I would rather take that 3.5, divide that between three $1 million wide receivers. I'm taking that. I'm taking that receiving core.
And that's what's tough is it's like
with a solid QB.
That's what makes it tough. How do you... It's like we don't build depth like that at all.
No.
We just, like Colby said, we're kind of spinning at the top. We had one big guy, two Power 4 lands, and then it was like a lot of...
Yeah. Where? Who's that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys that don't even have they don't have a card in Ultimate Team in college football.
Yeah.
No. Dude, I think Giovanni Gibson's going to be raw, though. This is so random, but
no, I
UAPB
agree.
guy. That thing is like, there's no hate for these guys coming from smaller schools. Like, you can come from a smaller school and be raw. That can happen.
But if you're not, that's where the hate's coming from.
Well, that's the thing is but from what we've seen so far, most of the guys that have come from smaller schools to OU who are they?
Yeah.
And
I just don't think we should be like depending on that. That's the big thing. We're OU.
Yes.
It's frustrating because it's like you see Georgia and Alabama and they're like Alabama, not really actually this year, but like those big schools are landing players from other big schools.
Yeah.
And that's what's frustrating.
Yeah. I think the Georgia Kendall Daniels.
Yeah.
Right?
OSU. Yeah.
Who's the Georgia one?
Oh, Marvin Jones Jr.
Marvin Jones
Marvin
Jr.
Jones
is
Jr.
the Georgia Florida State guy.
transfer. Yeah.
So he's the only guy that we've gotten from a big school.
Yeah.
Kendall Daniels.
Kendall Daniels is OSU.
No, I'm saying like big, like
Big.
Georgia,
okay, yeah,
Ohio
yeah,
State,
yeah.
No,
Texas.
that's a fair thing to say. I can't remember another
Like who else?
like a blue blood.
You could say DG, but he came from UCF. So it's like who? It seems like Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, and Texas kind of just trade girlfriends. They all kind of go around.
Casey Thompson, Brandon
And-
Thompson, guys.
Yeah.
And we're getting, I mean, OSU and Georgia, those are our probably two best school transfers. I'm not saying our best transfers, but our two best school transfers.
Yeah, that's fair.
Why are we not getting more guys from Florida, from Ole Miss?
Like we went crazy
from-
over the Purdue Deion Burks transfer.
Yeah.
We went
Yeah.
crazy over that. Lost our minds. Deshaun
USC.
McCullough out of Indiana.
Yeah.
We lost our minds. because they were from a Power 4. It's like, geez,
Yeah.
that's not OU.
Yeah.
That's why I stick to my stance where I think it is honestly a BV mindset of he wants to know everything, like character. They got to be perfect mold.
Yeah.
Like I think he cares more about that than he does
It's fair.
to get the best player. Because like I'm trying to think, what was the Kendrick Law? Like I remember we were like, why can't we land a Kendrick Law?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know Kendrick Law, and I don't want to sit here and make an assumption, but I'm going to.
Yeah.
Kendrick Law might not fit the bill. He might not fit the mold that BV was looking for. I guarantee BV got on the phone with them. I guarantee you right now, people are not declining a call from Brent Venables in the University of Oklahoma. There's no way.
Yeah, they're probably not.
Their answer, pick it up. And as soon as he hears something that he doesn't want to hear, all right, man, we appreciate the time. Bing, it's over.
That's a fair thing to say. I just think there should be money to back whatever kind of program he wants to build.
That's fair.
We should be able to match anybody we want if we really want them.
Yeah. We shouldn't have to rely on heart and passion to sell OU.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of Kirby's
just like you said, though. It's true. If I walked into a room with BV, my mom would be like, you're coming here.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't be relying on that.
Yeah.
We should be able to, just like you said earlier, we should be able to say, hey, we can throw you $3.5 million, $4 million.
Yeah.
And you're also going to get a good education, become a better person, better human being, set yourself up for your career later on. But we shouldn't be relying on that.
But you know what? We would be having a totally different conversation if Bro was winning. If he has these guys, if he brought in these guys this year if Will Huggins from Pittsburgh State, D2, if he comes in and goes crazy at tight end, I will sit here in this chair and apologize. Probably not in this chair, but
and that's kind of what we talked about earlier. Is like there's good expectations. From what I've seen in spring ball practice, and this is just spring ball practice, they look really good.
Yeah,
we look really good. There was not this energy last year with Jackson Arnold, not even close.
Yeah.
But I think the point that is like, I think if they ball out next year, we're not saying anything wrong.
No, we're not. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And I know what you're saying. I'm just saying like, we shouldn't be getting guys from these schools.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Sure.
And they might be dogs, and I think they are. I think Giovanni Gibson is a dog. But we shouldn't be relying on this money ball situation where you're going through all these stats and seeing, oh, they have good production here. It's like, how many championships have the Oakland Athletics won?
Yeah.
0. They had a great strategy, but they had no money. And the Boston Red Sox, this is way off topic, but when the Boston Red Sox won the World Series, they followed the same exact format as Athletics. But you know what they had?
Money.
Yep.
That's where
they had money.
That's what OU should be. We're a blue blood. We're the Red Sox. We're the Yankees. We're the Dodgers.
Yes.
We should be able to spend our money wisely and be selective, but also throw out crazy cash because we're OU.
Yeah. We should be able to go to UAPB and get Giovanni Gibson because we know he's going to be raw. But then we should also be able to land Kendrick Law, John Mateer, and all these other players.
Yeah.
We shouldn't just have to be relying on these scrappy guys for everything. You have to have money paired with it.
Yeah.
Now, if BV wins next year, if we win the Natty next year, we make a deep playoff run, then that was
my whole thing. Yeah.
I will take it face value, just like you said. I'll take it face value.
Yeah, that's facts.
I think we do have a good chance to win this year, but I think more so what we're talking about is long term. This year we got Giovanni Gibson's a dog. John Mateer's a great quarterback. what's going to happen in 3 years when Michael and John Mateer are gone?
Yep.
You know, like, do we reset and do the whole cycle again, get 1 to 2 good guys and build some diamonds in the rough? It just doesn't seem like a feasible long-term plan.
Yeah.
To be relying on diamonds in the rough and playing money ball without money.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
I definitely think long-term that I would agree, but short-term, this like it made sense to me because we were so like not stable. Like most of these guys going into it didn't know who the quarterback was going to be. They, go watch Washington State play. Cool. Now he's the offense coordinator here. They don't know how this offense is going to look in the SEC. Next year, once they see, I expect our portal gains or whatever to be way better because they'll know, hey, Ben Arbaugh's system works and it works in the SEC. Yeah. They'll be good because defense, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't really paying attention to the big name defensive guys because I'm not worried about our defense. We were worried about the offense, but it makes sense to me why we didn't get, those top guys because they didn't know. There were so many others that, I mean, yeah, you can put a price tag on it, but it's at the same time, like, we got to land John Mateer first, so we can't pay you because if we don't, we might not have enough. But I give you saying long-term, we have to figure out how to get big name guys on a consistent basis and keep it rolling because Ohio State, they're just probably going to reload. Yes, they just won a national championship, so it makes it a whole lot easier. Yeah. So once we start winning plays such a big factor. Yeah. Winning. If we had went 11-2 or 10-3 or something, we probably have a couple better guys, but we went 6-7. So
that's a fair thing to say. That's a fair thing to say. You know what this is making me think of though is like, man, what a masterful chess move going to get Ben Arbuckle, knowing like John Mateer's right there. Yep. Like you could have gone and got a great OC that had a quarterback with 1,000 yards. Yeah. And been like cooked, Yeah, literally. Yeah. And so what a good play there from Joe C. One last thing is I'm going to turn it to basketball real quick. It's just that's where it doesn't make sense. Yep. That's where it all falls apart. Football, you guys make great points about, winning. We're not necessarily getting fleeced in the portal. Basketball, it's just terrible. It's flat out terrible. It's all NIL. I would say the whole issue is NIL right now and money.
Completely.
And that's where I get confused because I'm like, does the admin just not care about OU basketball? Do they just want it to just be what it is? Do they want it to stay there? Fall behind? Do they just want to spend their money on football? Are they just concerned about football generating tons of revenue, which I couldn't disagree with. Football is what makes money here. That is the case. Yeah. Or does the money run out after football? Is BV like demanding so much money for his roster that they don't have enough money for basketball? I don't know what's happening. That's the question is like, what the heck is going on there?
What's crazy is 9 years ago, we were ranked number 2 in the country in basketball. Mm-hmm. Number 2 in the country. We were raw. What happened? If you're not going to really, this is just an admin AD issue. We haven't won a football championship in 25 years, coming on 26. God knows, I don't think we've ever won a national championship in basketball. So you're going to say, well, we're going to prioritize our money to one spot or another. You're not winning in both. Like, what is going on in your decision process? Porter Moser is a great coach. He cannot win if you give him the least amount of money out of every other sport. BV, how is BV supposed to win if you're giving him little money too? So if there's little money and little money, where's it at? Like, where's the winning going to come from? And then all these people are coming at Porter's head and they're saying he needs to be fired. He needs to be fired. Well, you don't know ball and you don't know how good of a coach he is because he doesn't have any money. But with BV, I would say that excuse is not so much there just because he has some type of money. But I got a long tangent. The point is, though, is that if you're going to prioritize money, you better be winning in one of those sports, and you're not. So what's the deal here?
That's big facts. I didn't even think about it that way. Like they're trying to balance both, and they're just losing both. Yeah, that's a tough place to be in.
That's where I'm gonna play devil's advocate again
Mm-hmm.
I'm Mr. Negative today.
Mr. Negative.
And it's really, I'm really not even being negative, but I was just sitting here thinking, I'll put money on it that in like zero shade to Porter. I think he's a great coach, and I agree he does need more money because that's the game of men's basketball. But as an AD, I would look at it as a direct comparison between your two. You have a men's and a women's team. I can guarantee you Jenny B does not have that much money. I don't think I'm putting it out there. I don't think she has that much money, but she is consistently using these Oklahoma girls that she can get, these girls, whatever, and she makes a tournament.
You know what she has, though? There's a few things. One, women's players don't demand as much money.
That's what I was going to say.
Two, women's basketball has a track record of being dogs. OU, 9 years ago, we were ranked number 2.
Yeah.
But we're not historically like an amazing basketball team. We were March Madness contenders year in and year out. We get in, but we're not like North Carolina, Duke, or something like that. So I think the difference between women's and men's basketball is like our women's facilities match the men's facilities. But compared across the country, how many other women's teams match their men's teams in terms of facilities? I mean, we use the same court. I think most teams do. But like the locker rooms, their locker room is insane, just like the men's. I'm trying to play like devil's advocate to yours because women aren't asking for $600,000-$700,000 to be a starting guard.
That's fair.
Well, dude, the real thing is like, it's not just women's basketball. Every sport that doesn't cost as much money to be good at as basketball and football, we're good at.
We're thriving.
Baseball, gymnastics, golf,
which is so crazy.
The list keeps going.
Which is so crazy.
Which in my mind makes it even worse for if I'm Joe C, I'm thinking they don't even need. They're using bottom of the bucket and they can win.
See what are you doing? I'm thinking in terms of the exact opposite. I'm thinking in terms of it doesn't cost that much money to be good in those sports, so we can be. But because it's cost money to be good at football and basketball, we can't be because the money isn't there.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think the money just isn't there. And so the only success we have is in the cheap sports, the sports where athletes don't cost $1 million.
Yeah.
That's what I think is going on.
Yeah.
And that's what's really concerning is that if you're on an outside perspective, a big red flag would be you're bad at the expensive sports. You're good at the cheap sports. Not that it's bad to be. I mean, I love that we're good at all these sports, but it's like, man, that's a bad sign that we're broke because we can't afford to be good at football and basketball.
Well, it's a telltale sign.
It's a telltale sign.
Like it's blatantly obvious. People are wondering where the money's at. It ain't there. And we can tell because just like you said, all these cheaper sports we're doing good at.
Yeah. That's concerning. That makes me think.
That's crazy. Like I think in the exact opposite way. Like I get what you're saying, but it's just like to me, I don't know.
No, I know what you're saying. Like you're saying, like if we're good at cheap sports, how in the world are you bad at sports that cost money?
You're saying like some of the coaches on campus make the money work.
That's what I'm saying.
Some of the coaches don't.
Yeah.
But the thing is like money isn't even that big of a deal in baseball yet. Really, like it's not that big of a deal. Like, and even if it is, and it somewhat is, but like at the higher end, it's not crazy money. You know what I mean? Like it's not. And like gymnastics and golf and, softball, again, the higher end isn't that much money. So that's where I kind of come in with like the idea of like, we just can't afford it.
Yeah.
We just can't afford to be good at expensive sports yet.
Yeah.
How do you fix that? Laws, slush funds, school giving money to OU, and it ain't been fixed yet. So hopefully next year the tide will turn.
How many more
I think
graphics
football.
then? Yeah.
I think football we're going to be raw this year.
Raw is a strong word.
I think we're going to be raw.
I think we'll be pretty good.
I might be crazy. I think we're going to be raw. And if we're raw, which I hope we are, then hopefully more money will come in and things like that. But basketball, I mean, we got to have a complete 180 in what we're doing. We need to pump in a lot of money. Don't fire Porter. That's not going to help because who else are you going to get? Porter Moser led Loyola Chicago to the Final Four and the Elite Eight. Porter is not a bad coach. Who are you going to get if you fire Porter Moser? Because what's going to happen is you're going to put that coach in the same position with little NIL, who probably doesn't have Final Four or Elite Eight experience. And OU basketball is going to be significantly worse than it is right now. Keep Porter, give him more money. See what happens.
Yeah. We'll have to do a whole podcast on are we going to be raw this year? Because I feel the same way. Been watching that offense. I've been getting excited. But yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree with that statement. I think it's a hot mess right now. And you know what?
Yeah.
I will agree with your devil's advocate on this is if we win a national championship or if we go to the second round of the playoffs, something like that, it'll turn around. Do a 180 instantly like that.
Yeah.
Because once you have a proof of concept that you can show to recruits, and then once you have a proof of concept that you can show to donors, hey, this is working. Right now, what are you showing to donors? What are you showing to recruits?
Literally.
2,000 tapes?
Literally.
Right? That's what you're showing. So yeah, once you have that tape in the bag, everything will change. The donors will start shelling out more money.
Yep.
The recruits will start taking that money. They'll start taking in the idea that this team can win. And then everything turns around. It'll be like that.
Yeah.
But we have to make it there. And we have to make it there.
What if people just don't want to come here, bro? Like, what if it's not even about the money? People just hate OU, bro.
There's just no way.
I don't know.
That'd be silly.
That'd
be really silly.
like if they just despise.
Yeah, that'd be.
Which again, I mean, yeah, I agree. We need more money. Are we broke? I don't think we're broke. I'll be the lone wolf. I'm the lone wolf over here. I don't think we're broke.
We're broke.
I don't think so because I've seen too many. Thank you, certain family for your $850,000 donation, and I've seen about 10 of those. So that equates to, if my math is correct, $8.5 million. So let's. Where's that at? It's not going to me. It's not going to me. It ain't in my pockets.
It's probably going to Josie's business expense trip, all-inclusive sandals resort, Jamaica.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm not claiming Josie is committing fraud. Let me clarify. I'm not saying that.
Dude, that's good.
Yeah. Anyways, we're broke. So thanks for watching, guys.
We might be broke.
Maybe.
Bye.
Peace.
Peace.
We're broke.